Hello loves and welcome to today's video. We are coming to the end of February, so it is time to choose what we're reading in March. So here is my TBR list for March. First, we have The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I am on a tear to try and finish all of R.F. Kuang's backlist before the new release comes out in August, and I did get this box set for Christmas. This is a fantasy series about our main character, Rin, who goes to this military college where she faces a lot of discrimination, and then she finds out that the gods that people thought were dead are actually still alive. I really loved Yellowface. I'm currently reading Babel, which I'm enjoying so far. I'm only like 130 pages into it. I am really looking forward to this. There's been some controversy about this on TikTok recently, as people recommending it to people who liked ACOTAR and pegging it as a like enemies to lovers romance. So I'm trying to keep a neutral opinion of this going in terms of it being a fantasy that is a fantasy and not a romantasy, which would be nice. Next is Lapvona by Otessa Moshfegh. It is a shepherd boy whose mother is dead and was raised by this woman in a village, and from reading the description I feel like there's a like witch trial hunt going on when there's famine and crops fail in this town. They're looking for something to blame it on and hints of the occult. I enjoy like witch trial stuff. I'm into the occult. I'm into like Satanic Panic, which is like the 80s version of the witch trials basically. I've heard really good things about this. I haven't read Otessa before, but based on how this goes, I might try and read My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I just think that this one had a bit more of an interesting plot to start with for me, and then we can go from there based on how I like the writing. Next one is a bit of a random pick, and that is No Good Deed by Kara Connolly. I have never heard of this book before. I do archery as a hobby. I compete in archery, and it never occurred to me before like 2 weeks ago to actually look up books about archery in my library. So I've read a couple nonfictions about archery, and they also had this, which is a fantasy novel about a like Olympic athlete in archery who gets transported back into like medieval-y times, I assume, and has to try and survive using her like target archery skills. And as someone who now has target archery skills, what would that be like? I'm fascinated, especially because modern bows and those bows, not the same thing. If she is actually an Olympic archer, international archery champion, I would be interested to know how accurate the portrayal of archery is in this book, because she's doing competitive archery at like an Olympic level. That's a very different bow setup. So interested to see this. A little bit of an obscure pick. I've never heard of this book before, but hopefully it's good. So those are all the ones I have physically. I do have some e-arcs or advanced copies that I'm planning to read in March because they are books that release in April. The first is The Last Session by Julia Bartz. This is like a horror thriller about a woman who is investigating this like holistic therapy retreat in the middle of nowhere, and I think she gets stuck there and it has to try and save a woman that was sent there. Something like that. I really liked the last book that I read by Julia Bartz, which was her debut, The Writing Retreat. Hoping this one also has the sapphic vibes that The Writing Retreat had, but I'm expecting to go on a ride based on what The Writing Retreat was, so I'm looking forward to that one. I also have an advanced copy of Friends of the Museum by Heather McGowan. This is about a museum who has to host a fundraiser because they are behind on their funding goals, and we follow the different employees who are trying to host this gala, and in the description it says by the next morning one of them will be dead, which, interesting, very intrigued by. Feels kind of murder mystery in a locked room to me, which I love. Seems like good fun, and also like the drama of arts funding. And the cover's gorgeous on this one, and Mona Wad gave it a 5-star. So very excited to see how good this one is. And the third arc I have is Their Monstrous Hearts by Yi Turhan. This is about a man whose relative recently passed away and he inherits this estate, and this estate is absolutely filled with preserved butterflies. The estate is kind of in a state of disrepair, and he's kind of investigating around, and he finds his relative's journal and starts to investigate the mystery and intrigue behind this estate. The description feels kind of Piranesi and maybe like a House of Leaves. I don't know what's going on with this estate, but I'm really interested in like inheritance stories and like creepy, mysterious homes. So looking forward to this one. And that is the 3 books that I have as arcs for the month of April to read in March. And there's one more book that I'm planning to read digitally, which is from the library, and that is The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. This is a psychological horror about a Korean American woman who develops a taste for eyeballs and becomes a serial killer because of it. I've heard really good things about this from, I think, Kayla from Books and Lala. I think Jordaline too. I've been waiting on my hold for months, so I'm very excited that I finally get around to this one. And for audiobooks, I have 2. These are the ones I'm like most confident are gonna come in at the library in time for me to read in this month. A lot of them are like 6 weeks, which I'm like, that could come in next month, or it could be waiting until April. Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. So I've been rereading the Twilight books with friends to watch the movies, kind of a book club activity, and I placed Midnight Sun on hold way back when we were still doing Twilight, so I think that would have been like October, November. It just came in now. This is Edward's perspective of the events of Twilight, 26-hour long audiobook. You know, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't read this one before. I didn't read it when it came out. We'll see how that goes and if it adds any interesting perspectives. The other one is Interior Chinatown by Charles Yu. What I understand, this is a short book about someone living in Chinatown and then they have to pair up with the police to solve some kind of crime, but it's also a critique of the depiction of Asian people in Western media and written like script. I like something that plays with format. I've heard the television show that was based on this book is really good, so we'll read the book, we'll watch the TV show, and see where we go from there. So those are all the books that I'm planning to read in March, my highest priority ones. If you made it to the end of this video, let me know by leaving the sun emoji in the comments, or let me know what books you're planning to read in March. If you enjoyed, like and consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.